this is the MG HS Pilot, and those that know MG will know that this is no longer built in the UK. MG is now owned by the Chinese, so this is a Chinese-built MG. And I'm going to review it today. In this review, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the exterior of the car, then they're going to take you inside the interior of the car, and finally we'll take it for a drive and see what it's like on the road. Now, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this channel by pressing the subscribe button below. Having a look at the MG, from the outside, I don't mind the look of it. It looks kind of sexy in a way, sporty. You've got these LED lights that run around there. You've got this big grille, the big MG badge on here. You've got some two-tone here with a bit of the silver chromey look there. You've got some fog lights there as well. We come around the side here. I don't mind the wheels. They're 18-inch wheels. They're on somewhat lower profile tyres there with 50 profile tyres, and it's 235 wide, those tyres. Coming around the side, you've got a few of these decals along here, the chrome decals, which I suppose look okay there. And then what we'll do is we'll take you around the back and have a look at the rear of the car. Now, looking at the rear of the car, I just think what makes this rear of the car look a bit outdated is these two exhausts here. Now, if you look at some of the other modern cars, the exhausts are shaped more of a squarey shape that make it look a bit more, make the cars look more modern, where this round shape, I think, is getting a bit outdated there. They are somewhat real exhausts. Actually, real exhaust is just underneath there, but they've attempted to make it look like a real exhaust. Again, you've got that two-tone down the bottom here, the MG badge there, and then these lights here, which are pretty generic looking lights. I guess I don't mind them, they just look okay, a bit plain there. Alright, well, let's take you in the inside of the car and we'll check out the inside. Inside the MG, and this is the Essence Pack, so it's one of the top of the range versions. So you get these sporty leather seats. This one's got the red contrast here. They look nice and sporty there. The quality of the leather is okay. It's definitely not like the Europeans. You've got a bit of leather here. You've got some soft rubber here, which is not too bad. You've got this 10.1-inch infotainment system, and it gives you 720p clarity. It's okay. It doesn't seem like it's got too much happening in the menu there. It's got Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It doesn't have a mini USB socket, which is annoying. I hopped in this with only a mini USB socket, and I haven't been able to charge my phone the whole time I've had it. Just got two normal USB sockets here. This gear stick looks a bit cheap. The MG logo on it's kind of hidden. It's like, I don't know, it looks already worn out to me. This has only done 2,000 kilometers there. You've got a lot of the safety features here, which I'll talk about later, but here's some of the buttons for it. You've got your electric handbrake. You've got two cup holders there, and then some coin storage. A reasonable sized glove box there. And you've got some thing, I don't even know what it is there. I think it's a cooler glove box, so the air conditioning comes, you can turn on and the air conditioning comes through here, so it gives it, it's not an esky, but it just cools it a bit if you want to keep anything somewhat cool in there. What else can I talk about in here? It's got the panoramic sunroof that you can see, and that comes with the Essence Pack as well. It's quite a nice sunroof, looking sunroof there. And it's got also the virtual cockpit in here. So it's got a 12.1-inch virtual cockpit. It's okay, I'll show you some of the menus now. And the steering wheel's a reasonable size, so the medium size. There's a lot of buttons here, and it's not the most intuitive steering wheel. And then they've got this Super Sport button here, this red button. So with the red interior, this red button, I'm expecting this to have really good performance. So I'm hoping I'm alright. Alright, let's go check out the rear of the car, see how much leg room's in the rear. In the back here, and there's a good amount of leg room. What I like is in the middle seat here is actually usable because the drivetrain doesn't come up at all that much. So you've got a whole flat back section here, so it's easy to walk between one door to the other if you want. Seats are reasonably comfortable. Headroom's also good. My head's nowhere near hitting the top of the ceiling there. We've also got some cup holders in here and some nice chrome here as well, just to make it look a bit more fancy. So the cup holders are there. And then we've got some more storage in here there. So some nice little storage spots there, a nice little touch with the chrome as well there. You've actually got two USB sockets down here that you might be able to see. And what I've also noticed is these map holders here, which more look like they've come off an airline. They more look like the tray table you get there, but they are the map holders there. So interesting design choice from MG there. All right, let's take a look at the boot space. Boot's very heavy because it's an electric boot, so it doesn't like me pushing it up by itself. It wants to go up without me touching it. The boot space in here is just over 400 litres. It's an okay amount of room, but when you start putting a pram, and then all the other stuff that comes with a family in there, you're going to run out of space fairly quickly. So definitely a small family, it's okay, but anything larger, you'd want some more boot space in there. You've got 3 tethering hooks for your baby seats there. I can't see any 12-volt sockets in here, unless I've missed it. No, there's a few little storage areas, but it's a pretty basic looking area of a boot. Normally you get more storage areas, but this doesn't have really much. If we have a look in the back here, there are some storage underneath here, and there's no spare tyre that I can see unless it's further under. Oh yeah, there we are. I found it. It's a space saver tyre. So you've got a lot of the boot space has been taken up by these little storage areas. So if you could stuff stuff underneath there. You can obviously put a fair bit in here as well. But just this bit here isn't that big. It's got an auto close as well. So you just close it and it will eventually close. Don't know what it needed to wait 5 seconds or a couple of seconds for, but it did. Alright, let's go take it for a drive and see what it's like on the road. So the first thing I noticed when I hopped in this MG was this big black area here. So I know what's behind it. Behind it is all your technology for the adaptive cruise control and all the sensors and whatnot. But it's massive and it takes up a lot of real estate on that front windscreen there. So that's not great. The other thing is in the 3/4 panel back there, there's also a small little window, so it is blocking out a fair bit, but I haven't had too much trouble. It hasn't annoyed me while I've been driving at least. The ride quality on this, I thought would be a bit better. It's very bouncy, but what I thought that would mean is it would be soft over bumps. It's bouncy, but you still feel the bumps. They also could have done better with the sound deadening in this. You get a lot of noise from the outside, and I know you're only paying $30K for this car, so it is a cheap car and you get what you pay for, but I thought just a bit more effort that could have been done in this, because they put a lot of effort into the interior, but then the ride quality isn't that great. In terms of the handling of this car, it also isn't that great. It leans into the corners a fair bit, so you don't get that feeling like it's on rails. You don't feel super confident in throwing it around bends or anything like that. So even though it looks like a sporty car inside, it's definitely not. The engine in this car, it's 168 kilowatts and 360 newton meters of torque, which I suppose is okay for this type of car. I mean, I got in it and I was pretty excited because it was bright red, the interior, and I have this super sport button, so I thought, whoa, surely this is going to be pretty good. But the performance is, in my opinion, below par. It's not very powerful at all. If I put in this super sports mode, which I'll do shortly, it makes barely any difference. It's just like any other normal sports mode where it slightly holds the gears. It's actually even not that dramatic as some I've had before. We'll check out the acceleration now. So we'll just test it out, see actually if it likes to be loaded up. So what I'll do is I'll just stop here and we'll put the foot on the brake. I'll put in this super sports mode. Accelerator hates me revving it. It's actually just stalled itself because it just doesn't like it, and that's the super sports mode. And it's just, there's nothing sporty about this engine. It's just very, very plain and very average and sort of very, yeah, it's definitely not a positive about this car. The technology on this is great. You get pretty much everything in this pack that you need. You've got your adaptive cruise control I mentioned before. You've got your lane keep assist, which comes in a bit more than I'd like it to. It tries to pull you in your lane. It tries to pull you around a corner. And it's also got the usual things like your side assist here. It's got a 360-degree camera, and that switches on when you're stopped at the lights or something, so you can get a good view of everything around you. And pretty much the only thing I didn't have is that I haven't seen the car is wireless charging. And other than that, you've pretty much got every technology that you can want. The brakes on this car are actually quite solid. I was surprised at. as well. The gearbox, I haven't been that impressed with the gearbox. It feels like it takes ages to go in, change gears. You can feel it. It's a 6-speed gearbox, and if you want to go into reverse or something, it just feels like it takes an age to go into reverse. So it's just these little things that you can start to creep in, that you can start to see why this is only 30,000, because they've sort of been a bit cheap on things like the engine, the gearbox. Like, you know, on the showroom floor, like, it looks great. Like, it looks really fancy inside. It looks as nice as most of the Europeans, just about. There are some cheap elements if you look closer, but it's nice. But as soon as you start taking it driving, that's where you notice that, you know, this is only a $30,000 car, because you can kind of feel it in the build quality there. What do I think about the car? Look, I think for the money on the face, it's quite a nice car, but once you live with it day to day, I think you're going to start to feel a bit disappointed with it. As I said, this is the upgraded engine, so I don't know what the 1.5 litre engine is, which is less powerful. That would just be completely underpowered, especially if you fill it up with people and luggage. The engine I'm disappointed with. I don't like the gearbox in this, and the ride's not that great. So don't just look at this car and think, oh, it looks nice, I'll go buy it. Take it for a drive and see what you think yourself. Anyway, thanks for watching today, and if you like the review, please subscribe to my channel.